that way. That was a problem with the other ones.
Change your face.
It's the only one I have.
No, change your smile.
Hello? Great. Welcome to historic Barnum Hall. I'm Jody Reichel, the chairperson for Beth Shir Shalom's High Holy Days Committee. Now, throughout our services, as those of you who have been with us before know, we're going to have the lyrics to the songs in the super titles above the bima. We hope that that will encourage all of you to sing along with us. Don't hesitate just because you think you don't have a good voice or something like that, because first of all, chances are you do, and second of all, no one's going to care, and third of all, it's all those different voices together. That's what gives us the strength and the sound and moves us forward. Those human voices, those musical instruments, they really enrich our spiritual experience. However, the beeps, the buzzes, the telephone calls, not so much. So will everyone please turn off their sounds of their phones and any other electronic gadgets that they have with them right now, okay? Those of you with honors assignments that require you to go up to the bima, please come to the front seats over there, as according to your directions before it's your time to go up, so that Rabbi Neil will see that you're ready and you'll be called up at the appropriate time. Those of you who have reading assignments, generally speaking, you can go to either one of the two mics. At the moment, just the one mic. Okay? So if you don't see a mic in there that looks like it's working, please come to this one. In the unlikely event that there should be an emergency while we're having our service, you will be directed how to leave and everything you need to know. But in the meantime, notice, there are exits to the side and exits to the back, okay? Finally, I'd like to remind you that there is no, is this still? Okay. I want to remind you that there is no recording, no video, no sound recording in this auditorium, and that's it. Gemar Hatima Tova.
Shana Tova this time of the year. But more importantly, we should wish each other a Gamar Hatima Tova. Oy, that's a lot, yes? Right? And it is a lot. It's asking for a good seal, right? A good closure when the day concludes. So you could just say Gamar Tov if you'd like, yeah? Rather than leave out the seal part, okay? You could just say, and now you do know we don't say Happy New Year, right? Yeah? We're going to talk about that in a couple of minutes, but we don't say Happy New Year because we wish each other a Shana Tova, a good year, yeah? A good year. So turn around, say Shana Tova to someone who's around, or Gamar Tov, or Gamar Hatima Tova, or Hatima Tova, or whatever you come up with. Good. Good, good. On the very first page, we're going to read responsibly. At this season of the year, our ancestors always wished one another a Shana Tova, a good year. We usually wish each other a Happy New Year. They emphasized the thought that life's central quest was for goodness, for uprightness. Even the way we refer to these days of Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur reveals a decisive difference in attitude. To them, they were Jewish holy days, days of awe and trepidation. On holidays, we run away from duties. On holidays, we seek to let ourselves go. On holidays, we try to empty our minds. On holidays, we reach out for the things we want.
On holidays, we reach out for the things we need.
Holidays bring a change of scene.
Holidays bring a change of heart.
Rabbi Meir ben Gabbai said that on Yom Kippur, the first light of creation seeps ever so slightly into the world. This was the light that was declared into being on the first day of creation, before there were any luminaries in the sky. Since the time of creation, did you ever notice that? Let there be light. There's no sun yet. There's no moon yet. There's no stars yet. There's no LED lights. Nothing. You know? Since the time of creation, this light has been hidden away because it's too powerful for us to use now. As we express our humanity now, we could easily employ its intense glow for destructive purposes. When we complete all the work of tikkun, of repair and correction that we must do, and that we have yet to do in the world, to right all the wrongs, to enable peace, cooperation, and justice, to overwhelm violence, hatred, and prejudice. When that happens, the full light will be revealed, and we will use it only for good. Until then, we get a glimpse of the light on Yom Kippur, a hint of the light from which all light came, so that on this day of days, we might see ourselves better. And so now I'd like to call forward my wife and my daughter to help us with our candles. And you can either look up or on page 5 in your prayer book, your machzor.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel yom hakippurim.
See you later.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shechianu v'kimanu v'higianu lazman hazeh. Blessed is the glorious dance that gave us life, that sustains us, that brought us to the now. Blessed is the now. Blessed is the now. Blessed is the now. Blessed is the now. Amen.
So in your machzor on page 6, I was looking at this text and I said, it sounds much better when you sing it than when you say it. And it feels richer. Or zaru alat sadik uli yishrei lev simcha. Light is sown for the righteous, and gladness for the upright in heart. May that be all of us. I'm in G minor in case anybody wants to play along. Or zaru alat sadik uli yishrei lev simcha. 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 Or zaru alat sadik U'le'Yisraelev simcha. Or zaru ala tzadik. 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 U'le'Yisraelev simcha. Let's all rise. If there are houses of study in our realm, perhaps there are houses of study in heaven. As we study ourselves here with the hope of understanding God, perhaps God studies in that divine place with the hope of understanding us. Houses of study in this realm are also houses of prayer. Here we pray that we are worthy of having God hear our prayer. Our tradition tells us that God prays as well. In heaven, God prays to find a receptive ear among each of us, even if we have not heard God's voice until now. I'd like to call forward the many who have been presidents of this temple over the years. And I'm not going to call them in any kind of order. I'm just calling out their names. So if I miss anybody, you'll let me know, but I don't think so. Mitch Risch, Melinda Newman, Danny Durkin, Alicia Gary, Patty Oblath, Cliff Newman, Gary Hirsch, Seth Ellis, Natalie Rothenberg. And for those of you who are thinking about Linda Hoffman, she's taking a break this year, and we all understand why. Yeah? And Merle Singer, Merle Minkoff Singer. Got it. Very good.
Shlikin
We're going to remain standing just a little bit more for the Baruch Hu, and then we close our art, thank our presidents, and have a seat. So a little bit more. Good suffering. On this awesome evening, we confess our humanity to ourselves in the presence of God and our community. I'm on page 9. We often become frustrated, angry with who we are, furious at our failings. Other times we are not angry enough. We delude ourselves by diluting our own potential. This year, we will try once again to vow with sincerity. We have only one day to review the 364 that have preceded it, and that same day in which to turn ourselves toward the 364 that will follow. Now, we are now at this day's beginning. Many words and dreams and songs and hopes later, we will be at its end. We pray that between two settings of the sun, our sincerity will rise. Please be seated. Together, please, bottom of page 11. Light helps us appreciate the darkness, and darkness helps us appreciate the light. Sometimes the light is too much for us, and we seek a cool, comforting darkness. And sometimes when it is dark, we yearn for light. We watch the evening fall and are in awe of the many evenings that pass before us as the sun seemingly journeys off to the far side of Earth. We feel the wisdom of creation in the vastness of what is touched by light and then by darkness. We are held by the warm embrace of that wisdom. We are humbled before the intricacy of the touch that has brought all this to be as we witness the daily drama of the light of lights rolling into the darkness of darkness. Isn't it amazing how much we depend upon the world's dependability? We hardly notice the wonderment of the early morning or the peacefulness of the night. They happen despite us, and we take them for granted. We can't necessarily stop what we are doing to recognize the beginning or the end of the day, but it only takes a moment, and our tradition gives us a tool. We call it the Shema, and we are going to say it, and we are to say it every morning and at the close of every day. And in a moment, after an expression of love, we will say the Shema together for this evening. And we're moving all the way through from that right through our musical rendition of the V'ahavta. So right now, if you'd like to follow along, we're on page 12.
Otan
Up above or page 13?
walking through the day. Make this life a better place. Children will learn, and their future will be love. Only love with all your heart. Love, only love with all your soul. Listen to the wisdom inside and around you. You will
Page 15. Hello? Huh.
Hear Israel, in whatever language you can understand, in whatever melodies you need to understand, but hear and listen. The single power that unifies us, that we continue to struggle to know, will be known by us. That unity deserves our respect. We can fully trust no authority but God's. Yet how shall we know the authority? If we love the forces which unify the world with all our strength and passion, that is, if we love with all our heart, if we love that unification in the world enough to lay down our own life, that is, if we can love with all our soul, if we love the unification of the world enough to give up all the material possession for its sake, that is, if we can love with all our might.
Then these words commanded us today shall be upon our heart, and we shall speak the Shema with the fire of our passion. By our example, we shall teach these words and deeds to our children and our friends. They will become interwoven in our speech and seen daily in our actions. We shall speak them when we rise to greet the dawn and when we rest ourselves at night. Some people bind them as a sign upon their hand and for frontlets between their eyes as a symbol of unification. Perhaps soon all of us, both men and women, shall have the courage to bind ourselves to the unification of the world. Yet even now we can write these words as a mezuzah upon the doorpost of our house, that our door might be a gate for love to enter in and for the hope of oneness to one day issue forth.
Come on.
Last year, I spoke about two of my favorite books, science books. Neil deGrasse Tyson's book, which is Astrophysics for People in a Hurry, like me, I guess. And also Carl Sagan's book, which is just a mighty piece of work. And I noted that at the end of them, there was all of this wonder and all of this awe that they could be involved in that process of trying to discover. And along my way, I happened upon a wonderful interview with a scientist who is the head of a creation lab at the University of Arizona. And you can find that, by the way, on the show Radio Lab on NPR. Terrific piece. And he said, now, I don't want to say this word that I'm about to say, but I think I have to. He said, because it's going to sound religious, and I'm not religious. I'm a scientist. He said, but I do think there's a purpose to all of this. And the purpose is to create a species that can be so sophisticated that it can turn around and look at this thing and say, what is it? And why is it happening? And why are we here? And do we have any purpose? Does any of this have any purpose? And that's something to sleep on and to rest on, and also to be in awe about. And so we are very, very fortunate that we have a little bit of awe to express itself right now. Peter.
When you're away from me, my soul cries endlessly. The days are so long, and the nights go on and on. Hashkivenu, Hashkivenu, Hashkivenu. When you're close to me, my soul cries joyously. How wondrous are your ways. My days and nights are filled with praise. Please reach out to me. Bring me blessings from above. Please restore my soul in the shelter of your love. Let your mercy be a river flowing over me. Let your glory shine within us through time eternally. Hashkivenu, Adonai, Adonai Yimlo, Adonai Eloheinu, Hashkivenu,
Wait.
You hear me? Am I on? Am I off?
Yeah, you're on.
Now you're on? Okay, very good. Well, my name is Candace Quentin, and there's a joke in there somewhere.
Anybody know how to lower a microphone stand?
Thank you. That's so
There.
much better. Okay, I'm a member of your Board of Trustees, and this year serving as secretary. Welcome. I was going to talk about my personal experience here at Beth Shir Shalom, which began about 25 years ago when my son entered what is now Jelly. But I'm still here, so you can guess that it has been a good run so far. So now, at this moment in our history, I'd like not to look back, but to look at the present, this moment, and at the future, all the moments yet to come. As you know, many dedicated individuals spent the last few years working together in the hopes of uniting two Reformed Jewish congregations located in the same geographical area. When it was decided that the time was not right for a new synagogue community, we were able to look back and see what we had gained from the experience. Somehow, along the way, we were discovering more about ourselves, the things most important to us, our strength as a congregation, and the commitment of our members. It is now our task to take this deeper understanding and create not a geographic community, but what someone once called an emotional one. This community will draw its strength from those who live nearby in their minds and hearts. We have a strong start, and I, like the rest of the board, am so excited and proud to take part in this process, and I hope you will be as well. Now, a few words about tomorrow. In the morning, you can drop off your food donations in the front, near their driveway. Adult and jelly services will begin at 9:30 a.m. Adult services here at Barnum Hall, jelly services in the orchestra room, and prepaid childcare will be in the choir room. After services, we will have a very special speaker, Dr. Amy Cohen. That will happen at 12:30. Dr. Cohen is a child and family psychiatrist who has spent much of her career addressing the psychological trauma of vulnerable populations of children and families. She is also the co-director and co-founder of Every Last One, an organization dedicated to the expedited release and reuniting of detained immigrant children and their families. This is a subject close to Beth Shir Shalom's heart, and I urge you to come. Besides, Rabbi Neal says she's terrific. We have several options for the break between morning and afternoon services. At 2, you will have a choice of attending a discussion of a rabbi's sermons, led by Erwin Levin, or a circle of song and meditation. At that same time, 2 o'clock, it will be our Families with Young Children service right here in the auditorium. Then the Ilah begins at 3:30 to close out the day. Finally, I'd like to acknowledge all the people who have made this service possible. Led by High Holy Day Committee Chair, Jody Reichel. We thank committee members Fern Avedon Safier for the beautiful floral arrangements, Marlene Coe for the food drive, and Bob Elliott and Barbara Siegel for the memorial wall. Thank you to Cynthia Barzilai and Brennan Schulweiss for everything you do every day, but most especially at this time of year. Thank you to the choir, conducted by, I'm going to shamelessly mispronounce everybody's name, conducted by, I'm sorry, I've lost my place, Ryan Masalak, and Bob Packham is of course the accompanist. The sopranos are Katie Rudner, Krista Stevens, Rena Sonshine. Altos, Feroza Jabvala, Patricia Loeb, Linda Manning, and Susan Quentin Gabrick. Tenors, Marco Lozano, Stephen Phelan. Basses, Dave Ferguson, Jerry Grossman, and Ari Hayar. Our Kol Nidre soloist tonight was Kimia Aframian. Thank you. Finally, we have our Beth Shir Shalom musicians, not all of whom are on the stage, and that would be Gary Bachman, Dan Brooks, Hart Comas Daniels, Bob Packham, Peter Quentin, Mitchell Resnick, and Mike Stern. And of course, we thank Cantor Orly Campbell for making this service so lovely, and the heart of our congregation, Rabbi Neil Comas Daniels. Damar Hatima Tova.
ועשו מקדש ושכנתי בתוכה בנחת בברכיה ואתה
Lord, prepare me to be a sanctuary, pure and holy, tried and true. With thanksgiving, I'll be a living
Please rise as you are able.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Elohei Avotenu ve'imotenu Elohei Avraham Elohei Yitzhak Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka
continue silently now from page 26 all the way through page 32. There are some alternatives for you on pages 33 through 35. There's also some alternatives for you inside of yourself and in the room. Please pray whichever works out best for you. And when you're finished, please quietly be seated. Actually, yes. But then I'm going to ask you to stand up again, so you might as well stay up. You can sit down if you'd like. We're going to do a Misha Berach for those in our lives who are not feeling well. I'll invite you to add the name of someone about whom you're thinking by moving my hand across our gathering. So if you'd like to say the name out loud, you can. If you'd like to rather keep it quiet, you can.
We're now on page 35.
What does he say?
Go ahead. Go ahead. Wait just And now we're on page 35.
For the wrong that we did under coercion or of our own free will, and for the wrong that we did by turning a deaf ear to the needs of poor people.
For the wrong that we did unintentionally, and for the wrong that we did by bandying meaningless vows and resolutions.
For the wrong that we did with intention to deceive others, and for the wrong that we did by talking offensively.
For the wrong that we did by planning evil, and for the wrong that we did through being, I can't see it, slumlords, exploitative employers, or merchants, prejudiced, uninvolved, or we need some more light here. Endeavors.
Incompetent educators,
Okay.
citizens who fail to oppose injustices against their fellow citizens, or through being, in any other way, oppressors of human beings.
For the wrong that we did by using sex exploitatively.
Yes.
And for the wrong that we did by confessing insincerely.
For the wrong that we did by being contemptuous of parents and teachers, and for the wrong that we did willfully or by mistake.
For the wrong that we did shedding the blood of innocent people, and for the wrong that we did by misrepresenting or failing to exemplify the ideals of justice and mercy. You stand for thereby defaming your reputation in the world.
For the wrong that we did through disgusting speech, and for the wrong that we did by talking without thinking.
For the wrong that we did by letting our drives control us instead of controlling them, and for the wrong that we did knowingly or unknowingly.
For all these wrongs, God of forgiveness, forgive us. Let them go and wipe the slate clean. And may we have the strength to forgive ourselves.
For the wrong that we did by casting off our responsibilities as Jews and as human beings. Did I read the wrong spot? I'm sorry, I'm in the wrong spot. I know. For the wrong that we did by denying the truth and by deceiving people.
And for the wrong that we did by offering and accepting bribes.
For the wrong that we did by dismissing a serious matter with a wisecrack.
And for the wrong that we did by slandering our neighbors.
For the wrong that we did through extortion and the unlawful charging of interest.
And for the wrong that we did by being snobbish.
For the wrong that we did by talking when we should have kept quiet.
And for the wrong that we did through cheap curiosity.
For all these wrongs, God of forgiveness, forgive us. Let them go and wipe the slate clean. And may we have the strength to forgive ourselves.
For the wrong that we did by casting off our responsibilities as Jews and as human beings, and for the wrong that we did in passing judgment on other people.
For the wrong that we did by plotting against our fellow human beings, and for the wrong that we did by being stingy.
For the wrong that we did by refusing to back down when we knew we were wrong.
For the wrong that we did by jumping at the chance to do evil and by limping at the chance to do good. For the wrong that we did by gossip mongering.
For the wrong that we did through perjury, and for the wrong that we did through community divisiveness, through racial and religious bigotry, through intolerance of ideas and lifestyles with which we disagree, and through all other forms of baseless hatred.
For the wrong that we did by betraying trust, and for the wrong that we did under extenuating circumstances when we were confused and not fully aware of the significance of our actions.
Page 40 at the bottom, riding into the impenetrable darkness of Yom Kippur Eve, with the melodies of each of our voices reaching into the shadowy places between our potential and our limitations, sensing our sorrows, yet feeling a bridge between ourselves and the divine, knowing our obligation to enable freedom, aware of both our faults and our accomplishments, with tears of hope, acknowledgement, purpose, and struggle. We knock at the gates of our souls and at the soul of all living. In the glowing mist of the dawn of Yom Kippur Day, sensing in this day the possibilities of righting that which has been wrong, feeling in this day the forgiveness that may follow apology, aware of the hope inherent in this day, reaching toward the clarity woven into the fabric of this day, preparing to ask what must be asked on this day, moving forward with a strange mixture of joy and anguish, we will welcome the light of this awesome day. And when the dusk of Ne'ilah gently approaches, may we rejoice in the repair that we brought to this day. May we be comforted by the catharsis of our admissions. May we be held within the warmth and softness of community and family. May we be strengthened by the energies of many tomorrows. May we be satisfied by our expressions of regret. And may we feel the womb-like embrace of the oneness of all. Please rise. We are on the bottom of page 43.
כי אנו עמך ואתה מלכנו, אנו בניך ואתה אבינו, הנחלתך אתה גורלנו, אנו שונאיך ואתה רואינו. אנו נחלתך ואתה גורלנו, אנו שונאיך ואתה רואינו. אנא לך ואתה גואלנו, אנו גואלך ואתה גואלנו. Filling all world, unknown and known, embracing all spheres, above, below. Nothing else is, was or will be, ever deep pool, fountain flow. Presence and source of light, darkness and darkness, lights of light, always beginning, only one soul, never an end, breath of love, never an end, breath of love. Please be seated. You know, I'm about to, we're going to go back and sing something that we didn't sing. The Ashamnu. And I never thought that I'd do the Ashamnu and realize that I had a lot to be sorry for because I forgot it. So here we go. Now, if you remember, my friend and colleague Rex Perlmutter said that what we should do instead of going like this to ourselves is gently open our hands and accept what we've done wrong. Yeah? Much nicer. And much more meaningful, I think. Ya la la la, ya ya, ya la la la, ya ya, ya la la la, ya ya. Ashamnu, Ashamnu, Bagadnu, Gazalnu, Dibarnu Dofi, Ya 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 ya, ya la la la, ya ya. Ya la 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 ya ya Evinu Vehir Shanu Zadnu Hamasnu Tapalnu Sheker Ya 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 la 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 ya 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 la 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 ya 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 atznu ra ya kizavnu latznu maradnu Iatnu Sararnu Avinu Pashanu Sararnu Kishinu ore Da ya 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 la 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 ya 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 la 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 ya ya Rashanu Shihatnu Tiabnu Ta'inu Titanu Mateen, you're terrific. Thank you for doing that. There's a book on the Central Conference of American Rabbis website entitled The Sacred Calling. It's a celebration of women being ordained as rabbis in the Reform movement for over 4 decades now. I don't know who decided to title it The Sacred Calling, but I surmise that at least in part it has something to do with validating that women have at least the same sacred calling that men do when they turn toward the rabbinate as their career. I never had a calling. I just knew at one point that I wasn't going to be a doctor. Los Angeles Valley College was offering some Judaica courses for the first time at the exact moment that I dropped calculus, physics, and chemistry. On a lark, I signed up. My world changed. There were several courses and one teacher, Professor Zev Garber. I'd never learned Jewish the way Zev taught it, fresh and clear and academic. His methodology valued unanswered questions and unanswerable questions. Zev layered perspective upon perspective until every aspect of Judaism we explored was richly complex and swimming with possibilities for more study and more enlightenment. After a year with Zev, I transferred to UCLA and was immediately swept under the wings of Rabbi Richard Levy. May he rest in peace. Richard made every one of his students feel as though she or he was his only concern. He always seemed to have time for me. Richard helped me become a better person, which I now realize enabled me to decide to become a rabbi. Richard guided me to a place where being a rabbi seemed a reasonable destination for me as well. It wasn't a calling. It was a choice, my choice. No divine intervention, no still small voice, just the voices of people like Zev, Richard, and other humans who had a love of learning and a love of the way in which Judaism expressed and was evolving to express awe and wonder and the privilege of being alive. While I was still at Valley College and UCLA, I was teaching at Stephen S. Wise Temple. Many times I learned something during the day and taught it in the afternoon and in the evening. While I was there, I befriended Rabbi Jerry Goldstein, then an associate rabbi at Stephen S. Wise, later to spend the rest of his career as the beloved rabbi of Cal State Northridge, Hillel. He once told me that when he was first ordained and someone called out, "Hey, Rabbi," he didn't turn around because he hadn't yet associated the title with himself. I didn't understand what he was saying until I was a few years into my career. In fact, long ago, I gave a sermon that some of you may remember, in which I said that I was ordained as a rabbi 3 times. Once by the Hebrew Union College, Jewish Institute of Religion, once by the community I was serving, and once by me. The latter, I realize, is an ongoing process, paralleling the process of evolving as a person. One of the things I try to urge our B'nai Mitzvah students is to recognize that when they are in front of the congregation, they are not so much leading prayers as they are facilitating the possibility of prayer for the individuals who are gathered there to celebrate with them. I say this because I've realized the same is very much true for me. It's a great privilege in my life to do what I can to facilitate a spiritual moment or two when we come together for Shabbat or a holy day or a holiday. It is also a great responsibility for me, for all of us. Judaism has a name for that role. It's called being the Shaliach Tzibur, the community's messenger or representative. Quite literally, the one who is sent. The role of the Shaliach Tzibur, or Shatz, as it's abbreviated, is so firm within the tradition that there are actually understandings and standards and laws about it. Traditionally, it's considered that the Shatz gathers up all of the prayers of those praying in the room and delivers them as the congregation's message. Some of the requirements are outlined in Jewish law, and they seem rather ominous, and they may even make it impossible to find someone who qualifies. A Shaliach Tzibur must be proper. And what is proper? That she or he should be free from sins, and that she or he should not have a bad reputation, even from childhood, and that she or he should be humble and desired by the congregation, and that she or he should be pleasant with a sweet voice,
and that she or he should regularly read the Torah, the prophets, and the writings. Oy. Fortunately, those requisites are softened in a follow-up comment that says, if there cannot be found someone who has all of these characteristics, they should choose the best in the congregation in wisdom and good deeds. The famous Orthodox singer-songwriter, Eitan Katz, who not only performs the role of Schatz all over the world, but sees himself in that role even when he is in concert, has an even softer touch. He says this: when starting out, you should also prepare in advance which tunes you want to use. You should hum the tunes to yourself, first to make sure that the words fit the melodies, match the message. It's really helpful at first to find a place with a tzibur, a community that loves to daven, to pray. That kind of crowd is mainly looking for a person who has an approach of trepidation, but they don't need the perfect chazan. They will never make someone feel uncomfortable if he's not perfect, because they know that davening is about being together. I try to remind myself what I'm doing, he says, that it's not about me. It's helpful to keep in mind that what a zichus, a privilege it is to use the talents that Hashem, God, has given you to help open people's hearts to Him. And he finally adds, it's important to keep in mind that davening from the Amud, from the lectern, is not a performance. But if a person learns Torah and makes it a part of his life, no matter how much or little, then when he goes up to the Amud, he won't feel like a showman. What I've shared thus far is from a traditional, or in the case of the texts from Shulchan Aruch and the thoughts of Eitan Katz, an Orthodox perspective. One of the things that you must remember about what all of these comments take for granted is that the Shaliach Tzibur, the messenger, the representative in the community in the traditional and Orthodox setting, is facing with his back to the congregation. In those contexts, everyone faces east, towards Jerusalem. The Schatz is either up front, with the lectern facing the ark, or, in the case of some Sephardic traditions, in the middle of the congregation, or at least some rows back. This sometimes is a difficult concept for Reform Jews to grasp, especially if we never experienced it. I have the perfect person to explain it. Cantor William Charlin was one of my mentors and role models. He was raised traditionally with a complete yeshiva education, and in his lifetime was one of the foremost cantors and scholars within the Reform movement. He was also one of the first cantors in history, and in the country really, to sling a guitar around his shoulders. Cantor Charlin was a true cantor's cantor, a role model for his craft with both his Orthodox background and a love for classical and contemporary music. He once went to a concert. He told us, came to class one day, he said, I went to a concert with my daughters. And it was a Loggins and Messina concert. Anybody remember them? And he said, it was like going to shul. He said, everybody knew the words, and everybody stood up and sat down at the right time. It was great. He not only had a love for whence he came, but also an academic's appreciation for what Jewish traditions meant and could bring to the table. In an article he wrote entitled, When the Cantor Turned Around, Cantor Charlin used his vast knowledge and experience to understand what happens when the Shaliach Tzibur, the representative of the community, either faces the ark or turns around to the congregation. In the article, he specifically addresses his cantor peers, but for our purposes, we're going to substitute the person designated as the Schatz, the Shaliach Tzibur, the community's rep. How did the Chazan function when he faced the ark? His position was paradoxical.
On the one hand, he was surrounded by a community of worshipers whose presence he felt deeply. And on the other hand, he isolated himself from them whenever he entered into prayer. This he achieved by establishing around himself a state of privacy, which enabled him to release his innermost thoughts and feelings, for only with the power of solitude does one dare to reveal the deeper part of oneself. Since spontaneity is infectious, the congregation responded by experiencing the same quality of abandon initiated by the shots. A group experience resulted in which the individuals prayed together and yet retained an independence, each in his invisible but private world. Cantor Charlin was irked by the changes brought about by the cantor and the rabbi turning around and facing the congregation. He bemoaned the lack of privacy about which he spoke, both from the shaliach and for the congregation. Both, he felt, lost that sense of privacy within the communal. The rabbi and the cantor became self-conscious because of their new roles as officiants and performers. He also admitted that as Reformed congregations, we cannot return to the past. He feared that doing so would increase our self-consciousness instead of reducing it. Instead, he urged us to recapture the vitality of the past without returning to it. With that in mind, Cantor Charlin concluded his piece by suggesting that we find a way of turning around without moving at all. Inspired by the people I have mentioned, and via ways in which I have defined myself over the years as a rabbi, I've tried to strike a balance between the traditional physical positioning of the Shaliach Tzibur toward the ark and the contemporary positioning facing the community. This has not only to do with where my eyes are in relation to the congregation, but how I try to be, internally and spiritually. Part of the way I orient myself on a Friday night is to dress in white. This robe takes care of that during this time of the year. That tradition is venerable and wonderful. It goes back at least to the 14th century in Tzfat, that bedrock of Jewish mysticism on the northern coast of Israel. The Kabbalists of Tzfat would wear white on Shabbat and during the holy days to present their purest selves in the arrival of the Shabbat HaKalah, the Shabbat bride. And that wearing white would both enable them to soak up all the emotional and spiritual color of Shabbat and reflect back that spirituality as well. It's part of my private orientation that I choose to do. When I'm in front of the congregation, most of the time I sit on that stool. I do this without calling attention to it, to suggest to you that I am the representative of the community and that I'm sitting with you. I am still of the community even though I'm in front. I also spend a good deal of time with my eyes closed. That too enables me to be both with and alone simultaneously. When it is customary for an individual Jew to wear talit in the morning and during this one evening of the year, that's what I do. The talit is not part of the uniform of a rabbi or a shaliach tzibur. As much as I can, I try to facilitate rather than lead. For me, that is very much the role of the shaliach. I coax, I cajole, I utz. All of this comes to mind when I think about my new role as Rabbi Emeritus. What does that mean? The Central Conference of American Rabbis is very clear in saying that it's not clear. So here's my way that I'm choosing to look at it. Rabbis emeriti are not like soldiers. We don't fade away. Rabbis never do that. I have many plans for new and continuing projects, and I hope to bring them all to fruition. I still intend to be part of this community, of which I've been privileged to be a part of for nearly 3 decades. I hope my perspective will remain valued. As I've always been, I'm alongside you, facing the same direction as the entire Beth Shir Shalom community. Proud of the paths we've laid out for ourselves, always ready to find another turn, another excursion. Our paths will continue to intertwine and branch out toward our future, a future that will be vibrant and creative and socially involved and wondrous and filled with joy. Amen. You know, on the pieces of paper we have in front of us, we call this EIO. Everything is one. Is one. Because everything is one. And so I want you to look up tonight. Try and sing in full voice. Everybody look up and stand up, please. Wait a minute. I could tell that something was wrong. And we bow and we bend from the beginning of the world till the never end on this day and in days to come. We are breathing in one soul. Everything is one. Anachnu korim umishtachavim umodim lifnei echad ובתוך אחד עם כל העולם כולנו אחד ביום ההוא וביום הזה אחד הווה והיה ויהיה עוד יבוא שלום עלינו עוד יבוא שלום עלינו יבוא שלום עלינו ועל כולם יבוא שלום עלינו עוד יבוא שלום עלינו יבוא שלום עלינו ועל כולם סלאם עלינו ועל כל העולם סלאם 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 עלינו ועל כל העולם סלאם סלאם. One love, one heart, let's get together and feel alright. One love, shalom aleinu, let's get shalom aleinu, ve'alam salam aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam salam 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 aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam salam salam. One love, one heart, let's get together, feel alright. So I know that during this time of the year, no matter whether or not we have a yard site that's close by or whether we're still in the first year of mourning, we have people that we remember. Tomorrow afternoon, we will do that in an official way, but I want you to feel that at any time during these 24 hours, just make sure, not so much that you open a door and invite these people in, but know that you've already opened the door and they're already in and they've never left. They haven't gone anywhere. Right? We mentioned this last week, that they're still here. They're just less organized. Right? Those are the words of a wonderful, wonderful commentator named Aaron Freeman. Just less organized. Or organized in different ways. And that's okay. And that's good. So know the door is open. Know they're standing right next to you, sort of, differently, less organized, swimming in and out of you and in and out of everybody else. They're also in India hugging some kid who is poor on the street. They're also in the rainforest trying to comfort the animals from the fires. They're everywhere, all at the same time. So we'll say Kaddish together. We are on page 48. Yitkadal, Yitkadash, Shmei Rabbah, Be'alma, Divrach, Yirutei, V'yamlich, Malchutei, V'chayechon, V'yomechon, V'chayei D'chol Beit Yisrael, Ba'agala, U'bizman Kariv V'imru, Amen. Yehei Shmei Rabbah Mevarach Le'alam Ulalmei Almaya. Yitvarach V'yishtabach V'yitpa'ar V'yitromam V'yitnaseh V'yithadar V'yit'aleh V'yithalal Shmei D'kudsha B'richu Le'elah Min Kol Birchata V'shirata Tushbechata V'nechemata Da'amiran Ba'alma V'imru Amen. Yehei Shlama Rabbah Min Shmaya V'chayim Aleinu Ve'al Kol Yisrael V'imru Amen. Oseh Shalom B'mromav Hu Ya'aseh Shalom Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol Yoshvei Tevel v'imru. Amen. save the planet. It's the only one we've got.
Rain is drumming on my roof, lightning flashing outside my door. Thought I heard the ocean give out a mighty roar. The sun is crying tears of pain. The moon turns away in shame. If we don't learn the game, the stars won't shine for us again. We are only one world in the galaxy. Only one world, and why can't we make a heaven here on earth and live in perfect harmony? In one world, Tikkun. In one world, Tikkun. In one world, Tikkun Olam. People struggling high and low, mountains choking and the rivers glow. Creatures got nowhere left to go, the planet's about to blow. There's only one thing we really need, right action in thought and word and deed. One moment in time to make a choice, one moment in time to raise our voice. We are only one world in the galaxy. Only one world, and why can't we make a heaven here on earth and live in perfect harmony? In one world, in one world, in one world, Tikkun Olam. Tikkun Olam, Tikkun Olam, Tikkun Olam. Tikkun Olam, Tikkun Olam, Tikkun Olam. Tikkun Olam, Tikkun Olam, Tikkun Olam. In one world, Tikkun. In one world, Tikkun. In one world, Tikkun Olam. In one world.
Good Yontif, everybody. Shana Tova, Gemar Chatima Tova, and see you tomorrow. Haba, haba.